Good evening, everyone. Autism, a subject that we know or have heard about it all the time. But many parents and most healers also sometimes do not know how to deal with it, how to help the parents, and how to make them fully aware that this is something that is in their hands, how they come across with their children. Or for all of us, if we come across children who have this special syndrome, how to deal with them instead of either getting, let's say, scared or trying to shy away from any moment that we are presented with that. And what better way to do it than to have with us today Sudha. Thank you, Sudha, for being with us. And let me tell you who is Sudha. Sudha is an educationist. She is a psychologist and also an author. She has brought out a book which is for warrior parents, how to deal with situations and stories of warrior parents of children with the special needs. Sudha has been passionately working with children and families with additional needs since 2016. She is the creator of the ASDBUDDY app, which is an autism education app for parents. Parents want to engage but are not at all able to convert theoretical ideas to practical ones. This app, ASDBUDDY, bridges this by providing videos, demos with some customization. Sudha will show a demo too. She has responded to 4,000 plus videos shared by parents asking for help from all around the world. She is a firm believer in neuroplasticity and feels every child wants to live to their fullest, and it's a parent's duty to learn how to help. Sudha has personally experienced the journey for her elder son and feel parents' learning is the game changer. She believes in providing quality of life for the entire family. Let's listen in as she interacts with a parent, and that is Mrs. Reshma. Thank you, Reshma, for being with us. I know you are joining in from Bahrain, and we are very happy to have you with us. Together, they will both present ASDBUDDY and its journey today to us. So I hand over the stage now to Sudha and to Reshma. Over to you, Sudha.
Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. I'm Reshma. And we are extremely thankful to the Radical Group for giving us a very good platform to present ASDBUDDY. So let's start the discussion with learning a little bit more about autism. So Sudha, can you just explain what is autism?
Thanks, Reshma. I must thank Reshma a lot because she is full-term pregnant and she agreed to do this. And I'm very grateful for you. One of the things when it comes to autism, there is the definition by DSM standards. Before I get into all that, I would really like to know in the chat box, how many of you have personal experience with autism? Either you have a child or you've seen somebody have a child close who has autism. How many of you have seen a child or experienced a family who has autism? I would really like to know that. You can just say why and in the chat, and I would know that how many of you have experienced autism. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Autism, by the definition of it, is a developmental disability, and usually it presents itself with social difficulty, with communication difficulty, and there is repetitive behaviors, and that is how autism is diagnosed by professionals. Uh, but it is not that simple when I see it as a parent. When my son had ASD, my experience of it was a little different. Um, he didn't sleep in the night. He was very scared when I took him in car, and we just didn't have. We were throwing up as parents because we didn't have sleep, and life just didn't feel like it was together. So later on, when the doctor told us what it was, we were able to say, yes, exactly, that's what we went through. So many parents uh, go through a lot of difficulty in different manners before they come to a doctor around 1.5, 2. And the doctor then states that you will have a social difficulty. They will not reciprocate communication in a manner that you feel you're understood, or you can understand them. The reciprocity in communication is very, very less, or probably non-existent. Another thing is there are a lot of challenging behaviors which prevents socialization, and they would come to you at around, the child is going to a play group and they are not fitting in, they are not able to join other children when they are playing games, and you would see that the social deficit is seen there, and they would come to the doctor for it. What bothers them also is a repetitive nature. The child would turn the toy again and again, or the child may rock uh, a lot more than you would normally experience. They would want to swing for hours together. Or I have also seen that, they would use their physical body to show some repetitive movements. So this is how autism presents itself into families. And what happens typically is that parents naturally would fall into a lifestyle which the child is comfortable with. They would give the same food, or they would play the same games. They would, they would get into a pattern. That is how autism happens in families. Uh, yes, Rishma.
Yeah. So, like to summarize it, it will be like autism is a developmental disability, which in some extent, like it varies. Like if you see a person with autism, you just saw one person with autism, and it will be a spectrum. So basically, they will be dealing with a lot of social communication issues. And autism is not something that has to be scared, and we have to understand what it is. So thank you, Sudha. Can you give us a few examples on how families deal with autism?
Certainly. Like you mentioned, the DSM also technically says there is mild, moderate, and severe. And autism is now a spectrum where on one side they will claim that Elon Musk is Asperger's, which is also on the spectrum. But children who are really suffering, and families who are really suffering, are on pretty much on the other end of the spectrum, who are not able to get into a routine, and the parents are really suffering. So we have a very broad range. There is also a video which was once shared that there's a child who is able to map out the entire city, and also there's a child who is unable to get toilet trained. So you have a really wide spectrum of people coming in. So these three are markers which we gave. Social communication deficit, which has been there for a very long time. It's not just that it happened. It's been there since childhood, and that is repetitive behavior. Coming to examples, some of the examples that we have shared, I can share from parents' stories we have written in the book. And my own story will be good to begin with. Probably I was somewhere between moderate and severe when my child had the diagnosis. And the experience was that the child would throw up any time of the day because the food which we were giving was not suitable for his gut. And we didn't know that. And the child would also resist any kind of activity because it would involve him to sit in one place and put some thought into it. But it was not his fault because we didn't know how to present the activity to him, how to engage with him. There is another child who just sent us a video, and the mother has the family there was more in the towards the severe side. The child was not potty trained, and today she shared a video where she was able to uh, play ball, and she came up with this creative idea of putting stickers on the walls and putting these plastic balls to stick on it, and the child was able to do that even though he was coming out of a very severe autism, where what they are experiencing there is a lot of stims. The child rolls a lot in a mat. How families are dealing with it? Some families, the typical journey parents take is they would go to a pediatrician, and usually in the regular checkups, the pediatrician would identify symptoms and ask that the parents go to a developmental pediatrician, and the developmental pediatrician writes the prescription required to get the child tested from a clinical psychologist, and then they would ideally be sent to a therapy center. Now, what we want to do is educate the parents at these junctions, because when they go to therapy centers, a varied variety of therapies offered to families. The variety is a lot. So parents are getting confused what to choose. There are some families who pick the behavioral model, which will be like teaching things, how to, if you are asked your name, you respond with your name. No, most of it, the behavior is taught, the response is taught. That is the traditional way of handling ABA. ABA method, mostly it is called, where you predominantly teach the behavior to the child and the child responds with it. So in my journey, when this happened, I went through it and we landed and we started ABA. And within a couple of months, I asked myself, will I be able to teach everything to this child? We went to a restaurant, and I cite this example everywhere. It was a different kind of a tap in the restaurant, and he didn't even attempt it. He just stood, and it was like I had to do it because it was not among the things he was taught. So then I realized that I cannot teach him everything, and somewhere he has to develop learnability. So that's when we went knocking on Carol Subramani's door for RDI. And they gave us a very beautiful method called relationship development method. Many parents follow that these days. It is an alternate to ABA, which families can do. And in this model, they work on developing the internal motivation to engage in the child based on the relationships around, which is how all children typically develop. And they strongly believe that all children can, and they would come in their own pace when they are guided well. So we have seen that some parents choose behavioral methods, some parents choose relationship-based methods. There are other methods also, which is complementary in nature, um, like Ayurveda and all the other methods of um, pharmacology using medicine. I wouldn't talk about that because I don't have much knowledge in that, and I do not have the expertise to speak about it. There is another method also, which is the developmental method, which is consists of the physical body, which is occupational therapy, sensory therapy. which helps the body cope with the difficulty the child is facing. So the way I see it is, there are always three parts that we want to help the child with. One is he carries a lot of stress. What the child experiences ultimately is he's coming in the same milestones, and then suddenly he feels I'm not able to cope, and then he starts withdrawing. So if you can just reach that child somehow at that junction and say, you know what, I understand it's difficult for you. I will present you things in a manner that you can understand, and let's raise from where you are. I will hold you, I will guide you from where you are. So when we do that, the physical body sometimes reacts differently. To help that, we have developmental methods like occupational therapy and speech therapy also, which is provided. So this is the brief of what happens in the life of autism families. Yeah.
Yeah. So to summarize, like there are a lot of uh, methods to available to parents to cope up with or how to deal with autism. So the most predominant are ABI, and for the physical body development, they usually do occupational therapy, and there are relationship models which mostly deal with how a relationship can be developed between a parent and the child. So I think that sums up it.
Yeah.
So you are a parent too and have built something very passionately. Can you explain more about ASDBUDDY?
I'll do that. What I will do is I'll just tell a short story of why we built it, why we felt the need to build it, and then we will show the app to everyone. Uh, when my son got a lot better from where he was, today my son goes to a regular school. He's in grade 7, and he has been able to take exams on his own and manage academics to a large extent during school days by himself. And more importantly, he has started enjoying every aspect of life. And he wants to engage in everything like other children do. And it's not us telling him to do things anymore, it's him presenting his choices to us. And I always felt that, when I met other parents, that they didn't pick the relationship model. They didn't know about it. And it's probably deep within me that everyone should know that there is a relationship based model where you can actually connect with the child and engage with him and bring him about in the same developmental milestones like other children at his own pace whenever he's ready, but engage with him where he is. So when I felt that this was not even known to parents, I decided in COVID that I will do something about it. And we built the app. And the first stage of the app was we put a very large Excel sheet with lots of activities and, how to do and all that. And then my husband and myself were thinking, this is not this has to be customized. The spectrum is very large. We just can't say play ball, throw like this, catch like this. The child is not the same across the spectrum. So we had to build something which will be a little more, you know, nearer to the child, if I can say. So I'll just present to you what we built, and hopefully it's you. I need permission to share my screen.
Apurva, please provide the permission.
Yes, thank you. So I'll just quickly. So this is our website, and when we built this, we wanted to talk something about freedom. So we created something called freedom. So this is out of my experience of working with children, understanding how they develop during the relationship model method of engaging with them. So the way I see it is when a child is in a very difficult situation where he's not able to communicate at all and he's continuously stimming and even look, he never looks at anything. So we want to begin with, we don't want to force him to look at us, we just want to encourage him to look at us. So the activities we would do would be at that customization level. And then we felt once the child even looks a little bit, we can provide him a little bit of information and, a smile or, just a hand, a gesture or something we'll be able to provide. So that is simple expectations for you. I will show a demo of all of this so that it's easier to understand. And then we want the child to engage a little bit with us. Like I give a spoon, he takes it from me. And then we are working towards building a little bit of dynamism where if I'm going to play ball with you, he knows I'm going to play. He might join me when I throw and he may throw back. And then comes rhythmic engagement where I say that, there is some amount of back and forth which is going on continuously. And then when the child is come to a level of awareness by freedom 5, you will see that when you take him outdoors, he's a lot more comfortable because he's able to now engage better with you. He's got a guiding he looks at you as a guide, he wants to learn from you. So he'll be happy to go outdoors now. He'll be happy to engage in different activities in the play area. And then there is mindful co-regulation where we present things to him and encourage him to give us a thoughtful response. It could be as big as, I'm building a house, I put 4 pillars, and he would go for the roof. So a little bit of thought we are trying to, bring in mindful co-regulations. And then we purposely a little bit of additional challenge, something breaks when you're doing the activity. How do you respond? The ball is flat. Ball suddenly becomes flat. Or the balloon you were tapping and playing burst. A little bit of challenge addition. We can't do that in lower freedoms. So we have thought of these things and we have made some activities for our children. So, so I'm just going to give you a preview of what we have built. This is ball roll freedom 2. Can you listen to the audio?
It's not audible.
It's not audible. Okay. Just a second. Okay. Okay. So this is freedom 2, ball roll.
Maybe Sudha, you can explain the process because it's not moving and it's not audible. So
Oh, okay. It's not audible?
No, no.
Okay. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Okay. I would probably just share the link in the chat, and if it's possible, the others can watch. So what happens is in this, okay, is anyone able to see the screen and listen to the audio? No one is able to, is it?
No. We can see the screen, but there's no movement. It's frozen and there's no audio.
Okay. Okay, one second. I'll just try one last time. If it doesn't work, I'll just share the link.
Okay, no problem.
You were able to open it? Okay, I just placed the link in the chat box. So if you can click on that and see the link. It may not open in an iPhone. So, okay, now you. Are you able to see?
Yes.
Yes, we can see, and it's audible too.
Oh, lovely. Okay, I'll just play it a little faster from the beginning.
So she gives the ball to the child, indicating a little bit of trust that he would play. But she keeps the environment very much under control. She's very close to the child. There is no other distraction. There's no other.
So we have made 140 videos across the 10 freedoms. So what you saw is freedom 2 ball roll, and you will now see ball roll at freedom 7, where the mother would stand, she would use a little more space, but it is very humanistic in nature. I have tried to bring in Carl Rogers' humanistic approach to the way a client therapist actually engages. We have tried to keep all of those principles in mind when we engage with the child, but we keep the environment such that he can manage it. So the same ball roll, I would play with a lot more freedom possibilities at 7.
Once the child has gone through the.
So we have given explanations as well. And we have done that for 13 activities, which gets delivered to the parents across 93 days in a weekly manner, and it stays with them for 2 weeks. And it is not just the activity, we have also given relationship-based theoretical concept in a very piecemeal manner, explained by me.
Usually expectation to
and these presentations were made by me using the relationship model for ASD. It is not generic in nature. It is based for autism, and it is made for the relationship model. I've also attempted my hand at some animation to show examples which we have worked with. These are all examples in the theories which we have personally experienced with our parents.
Child walks away. Mother is upset. ASD buddy guidance. Child is playing with a car while mother works. Child moves towards work table and starts pulling the clothes down. Mother stands up and catches the clothes. She holds the child's hand and non-verbally indicates displeasure. She indicates to the child and makes him pick up the clothes. She participates too. When such responses are repeated a few times, in similar situations, child learns.
So basically, we have also given ideas as to how we can handle in a much more humanistic approach with one assignment for the parent. So this is the core content of what we have created. So we have created 10 freedom courses, each with 13 activities across the 10 freedoms. So that's 130 plus another 35 theoretical concepts, which also get delivered in a weekly manner for parents who wish to learn and engage with the child. Apart from this, we have the free courses as well, which gives you the idea why we developed it. And if anyone is very new to the relationship body, we have explained what it is. This 30-day course I had written, and a lot of parents read it, and that's the book. They wanted to know how they can read it again and again. So that's the reason we made the book. So I'll just
So this book, it will.
yeah, this is the book.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I have pasted all the links. Like if any of the parents are willing to purchase, I have pasted all the links in the chat box, so you can just check it out. And this book actually acts as a guide for the newly diagnosed parents and help them to heal them before they can heal their children, right? So yeah. So what do you think are the steps that the parent can take?
The main difference in my child came about when I was ready to change myself. And till that happens, I don't think any change is possible in the child. I can vouch for it when I say that, a lot of change is needed in parents, because primarily I was a very fast person when ASD came to our family. And when I learned the relationship model, the biggest challenge I had that I had to slow down. And slow down was not in my vocabulary. So that was very challenging for me. And once I could change myself, then a lot changed in the family. And obviously the child as well. So I would just do one small share of book. If you want to see, it is there on Kindle, I think. And these are the topics we have written. We have written in a manner that it is can be given as the first book to a mother. What is happening with the parent? How to regain your confidence? What is a lived and learned experience? I want to become myself again. Family support structures, what happens, what you want to happen may not happen. The topics which parents struggle with when they begin the journey of ASD is what we have written. So every day, we want the parent to read every day and take some notes. And we have explained the freedoms, and we have used the term inside also for easier understanding. So that's the book. And I know a lot of them have read it, and everybody has told me that they've been gracious enough to tell me that it has been very interesting, that they couldn't stop reading it and they all read it at a stretch. But I would still urge parents to read it one chapter at a time.
So yeah, I think that is the end. So we thank the Radical community for giving us an opportunity, and we are ready to take some questions now. So I think someone have already asked the question in chat.
Would you have content in a similar way for high functioning adults on the spectrum struggling with executive functioning depression, and anxiety. Please, therapy. Okay, we'll get that. Currently, we have made content according to the freedom. We called it freedom because it is what the child experiences. In freedom 1, the child experiences very little freedom. So in freedom 2, they experience more freedom. So we have kept freedoms in mind when we built this. It is not according to, high functioning, low functioning. We are purely going by what the child is experiencing as freedom. But yes, we have modeled it with my children now, and we do not have anything for adults. But I'm going with freedoms as the way to lead us. We are building some content to help parents who want to, who have come through Freedom 4 and 5 and are struggling to introduce academic. We are building something in that direction as well. Is your therapy model similar to Sunrise program? Yes. Sunrise is also a relationship-based method. RBI is also a relationship-based method. Floor time is also a relationship-based method. So yes, ours is based on relationship-based methods where we are trying to connect with the child and build a relationship and thereby help them in their social and communication difficulties. Yes, it is.
So any other questions? Does anybody have any more questions or any doubts that they would like to clarify with Sudha? There's a question, I think, from Sangeeta. Any leads for adults on the spectrum?
It would be child specific to answer that. We would need to see the child and understand what they would need to be able to answer that. But there is no age restriction to develop a relationship-based model. It may take a little longer, but it works across age groups.
Sorry, but may I ask you whether you take on, like a one-on-one session even with adults? I mean, if I had to reach out.
Yeah, you can reach out. We will connect.
Okay, I appreciate if you can let us know how we can reach out.
Yeah, we will just place the connect with them. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll do that.
Sangeeta, I will post all the links in the group, in the WhatsApp Circle of Peaceful Progress group and in the premium member group. You can take it from there, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Aarti.
Welcome, welcome.
Any other questions? We'll be happy to answer anything related to ASD. And anything from my story you want to ask also, I'll be happy to share.
Raise your hand if you have a question, anybody, and then you can talk.
May I ask another question?
Sure, Sangeeta.
About you talked about trust building, and is this something that have you seen a change, or is it the natural tendency for the autistics to doubt everything?
I don't see it as they doubting us. I see it as they being unable to understand us, and hence the fear presents to us as doubt. That's how I see it. They are comfortable in a particular, they are comfortable in certain rules. So if this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, it's very certain. So when that keeps them stress-free and comfortable, if you're trying to introduce a dynamism into it and, you say, if this happens, that can also happen, this can also happen, they would need guidance at that point, and they should be willing to take guidance at that point. So that is what we work with. Like, when you're introducing new things, it is not the lack of trust because of which they don't do it. I think it's more because they do not know how to do it. But if you see it as trust building, you're not wrong. You will have to build trust. Yes, I agree. At some point, you'll have to build trust. Uh, I would say trust building happens. Okay, it certainly happens. They don't doubt us. They are finding it difficult to engage with us. We have to reach them where they are.
Okay, and I checked the ASDBUDDY, the app, and it seemed more tailored to younger parents of younger children. So I was not sure how, say, if you're a parent to an adult, how would it support? How would those programs support even late diagnosis, or was it too late to do any of that?
It is never too late. Okay. But I think given that your child is an adult, you're saying, we will customize it and work with him. That's how we see it. Okay. Whatever is there in the website is a guidance for somebody who wants to learn by themselves, but predominantly for implementation, they do reach out to us. We do it one-on-one.
So
Thank you.
Thank you, Sangeeta. There's a question in the chat first. We'll come to you, Munmun, after that. How long did you practice the therapy, Durga Prasad is asking, with your child? He says, I'm just trying to understand how the journey progressed so that I can learn something from that.
Certainly. I did it for 2.5 years, 2 full years and a few months, where I was continuously guided by one of the members here. I don't know, Carol is here. So she was guiding us. And then I also embarked. I'm primarily a computer science engineer from NIT working for Oracle. So then I embarked on this journey and I studied this for another 6 years, along with my child as he was growing. So I would say it is the help I got by learning from my consultant, plus a combination of the education that I gave myself to have the confidence to be able to present ASDBUDDY also to all parents in a manner that all parents can understand. Because in my experience, when I asked others, they said the theory to practice is difficult. So each parent takes their time. I took 2.5 years, and I can vouch and say that 3 months at least was lost in me making the move to change myself. Right. If you can do that faster, it would proceed even faster. Yeah.
Okay, so now we have Munmun who has a question. Yes, Munmun.
Yes, madam. My granddaughter is autistic. She was in England, and there only OT was done, and nothing improves. And she came to me in India after my husband's death, and she lived with me. And I put her in a school, Tulipian preschool, which got the recognition of international recognition. And I do the therapy for her, speech therapy, OT, and special educator is coming. And now she's little bit better. She can do namaste, she can do tata, and she can do handshake, and she can catch and throw the balls, everything. But sometimes she becomes so aggressive, she throws everything. Even the glass of water, if I keep on the table, she pour it in your clothes. Very aggressive sometimes. Always try to eat the sweet. What to do, madam?
See, behaviors present themselves because of various reasons. Like this morning, I had a child where the parent was talking to me and the child came behind and poured a bucket of water on them. And at that juncture, the reason clearly was that he wanted the parents' attention, because that's the way they get attention. And they have always been responded to when they did that.
Yes.
So that is, there are many, it could be any reason. We'll have to get into the family to see what exactly is happening that they react like that. But the tendency to speak sweet is there. Carbs, restriction on that would be necessary, ma'am.
Okay.
Restriction. It should not be in the house in the first place. That's what is
Okay.
easier for the child.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, madam.
General recommendation is 40 hours a week. That is for ABA. Yeah. We don't do that. We don't restrict to 40 hours. We don't want 40 hours even.
Anybody else having any questions? Since there is no one else asking questions, all I can say is, Sudha, it has been very interesting and a learning experience for all of us who haven't had, this kind of situation in their lives, or maybe they've just seen parents or children offhand, not in terms of in their personal space. So thank you for enlightening us on this. And thank you for telling us all about ASBUDDY. And for the people who think it may help them further, you can spread the word and you can maybe take help from Sudha herself. And I'm sure she'll be more than eager to help all of you out. And we just want to thank you for this. And hopefully the learnings that we are getting from this are also going to help us in terms of our dealing with parents when we do healing. So thank you very much and all the best. Have a great evening. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.